Toastmasters and guests. This is a speech given by General Dunford. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Concerned for the lives of the current and future military personnel and to honor those who have gone before, I must speak to the nation today. I call this press conference to announce that I am resigning as the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, and I am retiring after 39 years of active duty, which included combat service with the finest Marines in the world. I'm resigning as chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff and retiring from the Marine Corps for the following reasons. For the last 7 years during the Obama administration, I have watched and remained silent as hundreds of senior officers were forced to resign and were forcibly retired because of their disagreements with the current policies wrecking the military. I have watched and remained silent as the people who have never served a day in uniform laid siege to the glorious traditions of the U.S. military. I have watched and remained silent as male ROTC cadets paraded in red high heels. Male soldiers conducted physical training wearing pregnancy stimulators. Combat units dealt with breastfeeding and lactation issues in the field, and sensitivity training becoming the standard operating procedure for the U.S. military. I have watched and remained silent as transgenders were authorized to serve in the ranks, and 3 females graduated from the U.S. Army Ranger School under what I believe are the most dubious of circumstances. My predecessors in the Joint Chiefs of Staff chose to look the other way and, like Pontius Pilate, wash their hands of these egregious affairs. My predecessors in the Joint Chiefs of Staff were more concerned about their careers than about the welfare of the nation and the troops they led every day. Now the final nail in the coffin of the U.S. military has been hammered in. On April 1st of 2016, that's less than 4 months, Secretary of Defense Ash Carter, with the full backing of the President of the United States, authorized the legal inclusion of women into combat arms branches and special operation units in the United States Armed Forces. In good conscience, I can no longer remain silent. The stakes are too high for this nation and for the women in the U.S. military, who I believe will be greatly harmed by their inclusion in the combat arms and special operations. I can no longer watch the U.S. military be annihilated while many have chosen to sit on the sidelines. I must step forth and report to the nation concerning the mortal danger the U.S. military is in today because of its Commander-in-Chief, President Barack Obama, and his cabinet and advisors. The evidence against women in direct combat from the Center of Military Readiness and Marine Corps $36 million 9-month study and the performance of women at the Marine Infantry Officer Basic Course is overwhelming. Yet the President, the Secretary of Defense, the Secretary of the Navy, and the Secretary of Army refuse to acknowledge that the evidence even exists. It does exist, and it indicates that while women perform spectacularly in 80% of the jobs in the military, the combat arms and special operations should be closed to them permanently. Women are simply prone to more injuries than men, have less muscle mass, do not have the upper body strength, the same aerobic lung capacity, and the aggressiveness to fulfill the military's combat readiness requirements and missions. The so-called experts often say that women have already served in combat. In the last 2 conflicts in Iraq and Afghanistan, females did engage the enemy, and many performed heroically and beyond the call of duty. But returning fire during a military police security operation is not the same as being in a combat arms unit that has the mission of finding, fixing, and killing the enemy. That is like comparing Pop Warner football with the NFL. Reality says that women serving in combat arms and special operations is not just a bad idea, but a horrific decision that puts the nation in moral danger. The President and Secretary of Defense are not dealing with reality, but with a feminist-based fantasy based on false premises of gender neutrality. They see the world the way they want it to be, not the way it is. They see the world the way they want it to be, not the way it is. These policies are based on the illusion that genders are neutral and that none of this will affect the military's readiness, esprit de corps, and ability to wage and win wars. There is no gender neutrality in a battlefield. It is the responsibility of the American military leaders to protect the nation and to obey the lawful orders of those appointed above us. But our military leaders are not martineers. They are not Führer Pinsuits in America. An order is not just an order. The nation's military leaders have a moral duty to inform our elected officials when policies they support and implement are destructive to the nation itself. Silence is not golden. It is pure and unadulterated moral cowardice. Congress also has a duty to protect the nation and to ensure that the military is strong and readiness is maintained. On the issue of women in combat, Congress has been full of sound and fury while signifying nothing, except for a few concerned veterans like Senator John McCain and Congressman Duncan Hunter. Congress has remained silent because of a majority of Congress has never served and is largely ignorant of the issue itself. I cannot in good conscience promote policies that will order American women ages 18 to 26 to register and be eligible for military draft, which could place them in combat armed units in wartime. I cannot in good conscience serve as the highest ranking military member of the United States military when I am completely at odds with the social engineering directives emanating from the Secretary of Defense and the President. The military has one sole mission. That is to wage war and to vanquish the enemies of the nation on land, on the seas, and in the air. It must never be used as a social engineering project by naive and uninformed politicians and lobbyists. As the military prepares for this catastrophic change, the enemies of this nation are lining up against us. They know that this is a lose-lose situation for us and a win-win situation for them. They know that we are not going to wage war with a much weaker force and that our readiness is withering by the hour. It is very possible that the United States of America may never win another war. I do not believe this is hyperbole. I believe this is a fact. The fate of the Republic hangs in mortal jeopardy. I pray that my successor and a president-elect in 2016 have the courage and the wisdom to amend the policies that might very well destroy this great nation I have served for nearly 4 decades. I bid you farewell. Semper Fi. Semper Fi is the Marine Corps call to arms. This gentleman is the highest person in the military. He's got 39 years of handling Marines. They did a study. Nobody wants to listen to the study. We are in danger. You are now on notice. I doubt if any of you have even read it about it in the newspaper. And toast to the